Welcome to Moms in Ministry, the podcast where we help moms navigate faith, family, and ministry together. I'm Jolea.
And I'm Estella.
And we're your hosts. We're passionate about empowering and equipping moms to live out their calling in ministry and beyond.
Join us each week as we explore topics that matter most to you, from parenting and marriage to ministry and personal growth.
We'll share real conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories from fellow moms in ministry.
So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in.
Welcome to the Moms in Ministry podcast. My name is Jolea, and I am the founder of the Moms in Ministry Collective. And I am joined today by our co-host, Estella. Estella, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Yes.
Happy New Year to you too.
Yes, I'm super excited. We're weeks into the new year already and continuing to just lean into what all 2025 has for us. I do want to say a special welcome to anybody who is tuning in for the first time. Maybe this is the first episode of the Moms in Ministry podcast that you've ever listened to. And I want to invite you to join us on Facebook. We have a Facebook community that is continually growing with more and more women who are just like you, maybe a mom who also serves in ministry, and you're looking for resources to do both well. And so I would invite you to join us. You can go to Facebook, type in Moms in Ministry, and you'll find us there. Just hit the join button. We'd love to have you. Well, we're in a new series on the Moms in Ministry podcast called Your Best Self, all about helping you become your best self, not for yourself, but so that you can serve God well and do all that He has called you to do. I shared this on the last episode, but I think about the scripture in Ephesians. It's Ephesians 2:10, and it says, "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago." And to me, that is just so encouraging because it helps me know that God has a purpose for my life. And I hope you know that God has a purpose for your life. And here at Moms in Ministry, our desire is to help call that out of you, that you would be the best mom you could possibly be the best spouse you could possibly be the best version of yourself you can possibly be, and serve in ministry in whatever capacity God has called you to. But it requires that we put in the work right now to just uncover what that is and to walk in it fully. So super excited to dive into another week going through that.
I'm excited too to go over it with you.
Yeah, so last week we talked about your best self and your spiritual life. So we gave you 4 tools on how to become your best self this year spiritually. And at the end of the episode, I just said this is a non-exhaustive list, which means that it was not a complete list. It was just the things that Estella and I have found work for ourselves and in our lives personally. But God might ask you to do something different. So listen to it and take what you need from it. And hopefully it blesses you as well if you're looking to grow in your spiritual life this year. Today, we're actually going to go through our 5-day reset challenge. So if you are a part of the Moms in Ministry Facebook group, you'll notice that we had a 5-day reset challenge where for 5 days, we intentionally reset our lives. We clarified our vision for 2025 and we leaned in to all that God has for us and created a plan for what it would look like in 2025 to accomplish that vision and those goals. So we thought for our podcast listeners that we would also give you the opportunity to do a 5-day reset yourself. And so today we're going to do just a quick teaching on what the 5-day reset looks like. Now, in our Moms in Ministry Facebook group, we had close to 40 women join the challenge and be a part of it. And each of them got a free ebook. And so if you'd like a copy of our free 5-day Reset Your Life ebook, you can head over to the Moms in Ministry website, momsinministry.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and you'll find a place where you can download the free ebook yourself. If you want to, you can stop listening to this podcast right now, go download it, and then come back and listen so you have something to look at as we're walking you through this 5-day reset. So you ready to get started, Estella?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So day 1 of the 5-day reset is all about defining your vision. Defining your vision. And on the ebook, we separated it into 2 areas. One was in ministry, the other one was in family. Remember, we focus on Jesus, family, and mission here at Moms in Ministry. And so we wanted to give you the opportunity to just establish some vision. I love the scripture in Proverbs that says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." So if you don't know where you're going or what you desire to accomplish this year, it's hard to do anything, right? There is nothing inspiring you past the difficulties of today. What do you think about having vision for your life?
Yeah, I think vision and timed visions are good. Just in general, like you said, if we're not aiming towards anything, then you kind of can look back at the year and then realize that you didn't do much with the year. And it could go on like that for years. So I believe vision is important. I believe it's important to God. It helps set a goal. It helps you kind of pray on it, meditate on it, work towards it. So vision for sure is 100% important.
It's so important. I think that there have been seasons of my life where I have felt down or frustrated or a little bit out of it. And I'll look back at those seasons and realize I wasn't really striving towards anything. And of course, like I'm a hard worker. So whatever I was putting my hands to at that time, I was working hard towards, but there wasn't anything past, 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now that I was looking ahead towards. And as soon as I would reset and establish the vision that I had for like next year or the next 6 months and what I wanted to accomplish and what I felt like God was asking me to do, it changed my perspective. It gave me fresh life, fresh motivation, fresh inspiration to keep going in the current that I was in. And so maybe you've been like, man, I just don't know. I feel a little down. I feel a little, frustrated, maybe complacent with where I am. And I'm just checking boxes, moving life forward. Maybe it's time to just establish some vision. And so just a couple of questions that we have here in the 5-Day Reset ebook for you to answer. The first is we wanted you to pray and reflect. Just reflect on your calling and take the space to jot down any insights and guidance you receive from God. What is God speaking to you? In the 5-Day Reset for the women in our Facebook group, we talked about one word. I don't know if you have a one word this year, Estella.
I typically don't, but this was the first year where I felt that God gave me a one word, which I've heard people do it. I've heard churches doing it. And it was pretty awesome because I wasn't looking for it.
Yeah.
So.
And that's usually how it happens to me too. I'm usually not looking for a one word. And it's so interesting how seasons happen. So recently I started hearing my one word in like September, October, which is way early, but it's for the next year. And so it gives me several months to pray and meditate, but it is always so interesting. So maybe you received a word, maybe God just planted something in your heart. Maybe it was health or breakthrough or transition, whatever it is, that is a part of what your vision could be for the new year, leaning into that one word. Maybe your heart has been heavy for a specific area of your life, or you've been trying to refocus, whatever that is, that's usually from God. And so take time just to reflect and write those things down because it could help direct your vision. And it not just be vision and dreams of your own, but God's vision for your life. Then we encourage you to write down a concise ministry vision statement. So what do you want to accomplish this year? That's your vision statement. And then values. And there's a place for you to also do your family values. But what do you value most? I think of values like this. Values are like guardrails, and values help you when you're trying to make decisions. So when you are driving down the highway, there are big old barriers on either side that say you can keep driving, you can change lanes, but you can't go this far and you can't go backwards, and everybody's moving in one direction towards a goal. And that's what values do. It's like you can go forward, you can switch lanes, your days can have different rhythms and they can look different and you can work on different projects, but they all are in alignment and moving in the same direction as your values are. So, for example, if you value God, then you're going to say yes to things that value God. If you value your family, you're going to say yes to things that prioritize your family. So whatever your values are in this season, those should be written down, and they can change, depending on what season you're in, or you can add some or remove some. But whatever your values are, you just want to establish those because it will help guide your life towards the vision that you have. Otherwise, we say yes to everything because there's no clear values to define the decision-making process for our lives.
And can I just go back to your one word of the
Absolutely.
year? Because I want you to share it because I loved it.
Do you know my one word for the year?
I do, because you said it on YouTube.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
You forgot you shared it.
I guess I did. Well, and it's so funny because it's a little embarrassing. My one word for the year is confident. And it's not a confidence in myself. I think people would be surprised to know that, I sometimes do second guess. I very often am overthinking the decisions I'm making, wondering if I'm making the right decisions, doing the
Mhm.
right things. And it makes me unclear, even when I communicate to other people, and because I want to get it right.
Mhm.
And when you want to get it right so badly, you can really overanalyze
Yeah.
everything that you do. And so confidence, and not only that, but then I just started to lean into why confidence. And it was not just that, it was also just confidence in God.
Mhm.
Because even when I don't get it right, it's just knowing that He is there to catch me and that I'm
Mhm.
not going to miss it,
Yeah.
because it really is God's hand that's on my
Mhm.
life, that's guiding me, that's giving me the insight, giving me the wisdom, giving me the guidance and the direction to do what He's asked me to do. So,
Oh,
God
that's so
confidence.
beautiful.
What about
Mm.
you? You have to share yours now.
I get emotional. I'm gonna get emotional.
Oh.
Mine was transformation.
Mm.
And it's so funny. It's not funny, but God spoke to me when I was praying about direction for the new year, because 2024, while it was all great things, I felt like at times I was in a whirlwind
Mhm.
and I was giving myself to so many areas, and they were good areas. But I was like, God, I don't want to miss you. Like,
Mhm.
I need to know at the end of the day, I am exactly where you want me to be. Because
Yeah.
I know if I am, then wherever that is, it's gonna flourish,
Right.
and because your hand's gonna be in it. And
Right.
so, and his hand was in everything I did because it involved him, but I felt like it was just a lot.
Mhm.
So I was focusing on that, praying about it, and I heard him speak transformation from the inside out.
Mm.
And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it because ultimately, when you truly follow Christ, your goal is to be a reflection of him.
Right.
And it's so easy to lose that
Mhm.
because you live in a world where you sometimes you just, in America, I would say, the culture and,
Yeah.
you know, just so many different things. But I am looking forward to the transformation that I know God is going to
Mhm.
do. And so that was my word. It was transformation. But I know also that that will never happen without him.
Mhm.
So it helps me to align what I'm doing
Right.
with him because I know that he is the only one that can do it.
Well, and I think that was so interesting, because just as you were talking, I was like, when you hear that word, now you have to get in position for that word.
Mhm.
And I feel like that is the almost even the having to figure out, okay, God, what is transformation? I got to get into a place where you can transform
Mhm.
me. So hard to do.
Yeah.
And yet, and I think it's so interesting too that your word is transformation, because you're already incredible, right? Like
Mhm.
you love God, you follow
Mhm.
God, you serve. And so to see, I'm excited to also see the transformation that happens on the inside of you, because I think
Yeah.
it's a new level, of transformation, a new level of what
Mhm.
God wants to do
Yeah,
in
and
your
I
life.
I would say anyone who has been in church for a long time, you go through those levels,
100%.
where
Yeah.
you look back, I am not the person I was, 5 years ago, 10
Right.
years
Right.
ago. And so I'm like, okay, God, I know when he speaks transformation, then it's a deeper
Right.
transformation
Right.
because I don't live like actively. And, I'm not like doing things where
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
God you is speaking, saying, you need to stop doing that.
Right.
But it's more
100%.
of I guess, an internal complete transformation.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, God, I want that because I know that that changes everything. It changes
Hmm.
what I am doing in ministry. It changes my relationship with others. It changes my relationship with my spouse, and my children, and in everything that I'm doing.
Hmm.
So I am looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I am too. I'm excited to
Mhm.
hear just what God continues to do and through you. And that's what I was
Mhm.
saying. I was like, it's so interesting, because like, it's not like you're just having all these, like, moral issues
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that, like, it has to be so deep for it to be
Mhm.
transformation, so I'm excited, I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, I'm
Yes.
excited.
Well, I think that actually is a perfect segue into our second day of the 5-day reset, because it's one of my favorite, and it is assessing your current reality.
Mm.
And I think that both of us took time this at the end of this year to just pray and ask God just to reveal, where we are and what's next and everything. But you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you're starting.
Mhm.
And so you have to know where you are today, in order to move forward to the next. And so I love day 2 because it's all about just evaluating where you are today and really being honest. I think that when we're honest with ourselves, genuinely honest with ourselves, we can actually make progress because it becomes this awareness. When you become aware of those areas where you struggle, when you become aware of the areas that just aren't where they need to be, then you can actually fix it. But so long as you're not aware, as long as you're ignoring it, because sometimes we are aware and we're just ignoring it, the more you can fix it. And so we broke your life down into 5 areas. First is your spiritual life, then your family life, then your ministry effectiveness, your finances, and self-care. And on this, you'll get to evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How are you doing in each of those areas? 1 is like absolutely terrible, like, I'm dying basically. Number 10 is I'm killing it, crushing it. I wouldn't change a thing. One of the things I did a 1-day offsite personally where I just planned for all of 2025. But before I did that, I did this. I did an evaluation of the different areas of my life. And I did what do you want to start doing? What do you want to stop doing? And what do you want to keep doing? And so when you're evaluating this, that might be a few good questions to ask yourself is like, are there things that I need to stop doing when it comes to family life or things I need to start doing? So like for me, I was like, I want to stop scrolling so much when I'm in the room with my kids. Like I want to be more intentional about being just completely present. I'm very present, in my home. And yet I feel like being on my phone and being present is not being present. And so physically I'm there, but sometimes I feel like I've gotten caught up in just what's going on outside of the house when I'm home. And so I want to spend more time just being more intentional. So I gave myself a fair rating on family life because there's just areas for improvement and areas that I want to tweak and places I want to get better. And so you can evaluate yourself for each of these areas. And then at the bottom, it just asks for strengths, weaknesses, and areas of improvement. The next day is setting SMART goals. So once you've evaluated your life, which is really, really important, now we've given you 5 pages just to set goals for each area. So I think SMART goals are really, really great. And I did say this on YouTube, but I was like, SMART goals feel silly because it's like, I really, in high school, I'm pretty sure we did SMART goals. It was like, set a SMART goal and we're going to teach you how to plan. And I was like, oh, like, I don't want to keep setting SMART goals now that, I'm almost 30, like I'm just over it. And anyways, but it's great because they are specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, and they're time bound. So when you set SMART goals, it forces you to put metrics around what you want to accomplish. And so sometimes we say things like, I want to drink more water. And people are like, great. And so if you drink a glass of water, did you drink enough water? Like, did you drink more water?
How much water do you want to drink a day?
Right. So when you set SMART goals, you're actually getting specific with yourself. And ultimately, it's causing you to hold yourself accountable. So if instead I say, I want to drink 5 8-ounce glasses of water a day, and I'm going to do this by setting them out in different cups, or I'm going to have one big cup that I'm going to carry around. And it's by the end of each day.
Yeah.
That's a goal. And I want to do that for the next 30 days. Now it's specific. It's measurable. Did you drink 5 glasses of water? Yes or no?
Yeah.
So easy to answer. Is it achievable? Yes, I should 5 glasses, 8 ounces, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then 2 extra glasses throughout the day, relevant and time bound.
Yeah, that's good because I don't do any SMART goal settings for most of my life. I don't. But I could see how it can help, you know, because it's especially with something that you can measure, that you can see it. I think that's important. It could help.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the SMART goals are great. Now, I will say when I plan, I don't always just sit down and write SMART goals out. But what I would love for you to get from this is the concept of how you set goals. So when we set really kind of like pie in the sky, unspecific goals, we're not really setting, like, I think about this. Trust is built in small kept promises. And that includes small kept promises to yourselves. Like, we are learning to trust ourselves when we set goals. So when we say, hey, I'm going to work out 3 times a day, or not a day, I'm sorry, not my CrossFit people and all my amazing people who do work out 3 times a day. If I'm going to work out 3 times a week, but then you don't over and over and over again, you learn, oh, well, I say I'm going to do it. I don't do it, you know?
Mhm.
And so you're learning not to trust yourself. When you set specific goals, it's giving you real metrics that you can measure and say, man, I really accomplished that goal. I hit that goal. I trust myself. And so it's giving you a place to hold yourself accountable and actually strive towards something new. Day 4 was really great. This is one of my favorite topics. It's called prioritizing your time, building a schedule that works. And we're actually going to do this in the Your Best Self series. So look out for that episode in February where we're going to do a full calendar training. But what you'll find here is that you're going to write down your priorities and then you're going to go through and list out just your basic weekly schedule. What do you do? So if you work, a lot of times morning and afternoon will be at work. And then if you have evening commitments, maybe, we have Tuesday night rehearsal. So for me, it'd be work in the morning box, the afternoon box, and then the evening, it would be rehearsal on Tuesdays. So you just map out your days just at a basic level. And then we've also provided you with a weekly schedule template on page 12 where you can literally line out every hour of your week. For some of you guys, that's like, that is so overwhelming. I don't want to do that. But I would challenge you. I would challenge you to try. I've been using a calendar for about 10 years, and I will tell you this, it is worth it. It is a discipline that took a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of, wait, let me add that to my calendar. But if I don't add it to my calendar, it's just not real. And that's what I tell people. If it's not on the calendar, it's not real. And that should be as we're growing up and becoming adults, we put things on calendars. Estella,
Yeah.
and you do this. You are big on your calendar. I'm big on staying organized.
Yeah.
But it helps us honor our own time. It helps us honor other people's time because we don't forget or we don't not show up when we
Yeah.
say we're going to. And it allows us to say yes to the right things and no to the wrong things. So you don't double book yourself. You don't overbook yourself when you're managing your calendar well.
Yeah. I'm good at doing a calendar that I can hold, but I've realized I've had to transition it to both to
Yeah.
my phone because I don't always have my planner or my calendar with me wherever I am. So I'm like, I'll have to get back with you. So yeah, that's something new I'm doing this year is actually putting it in my phone.
Yes, it's really funny. I love the hand. We've talked about this before, but I love the handheld planner. I love writing things down.
Yeah.
I love making it really pretty and using the little stickers that come with it
Mhm.
and everything like that. But I have found because I am an efficiency girl, so I want to do the most efficient. And it is so much more efficient having it on the one thing that you're going to always have with
Yeah.
you, which is your cell phone. So when somebody invites you to something or it's like, hey, like I want to get on your calendar. When can we go to coffee or when can we grab lunch? If you have it on your phone, you can actually give them an answer
Yeah.
versus adding more work to your plate. Because now when you get home or get to the office, you got to open up your calendar and find the date and then text them back and get it set. And so there's a whole extra 5 to 10 minutes you're adding to your day versus being able to do it right there on the spot. So if you can use a digital calendar, we're going to continue to put out resources for calendaring this year. It is one of the single most transformative things that I have done over the last 10 years that have helped me stay organized and help me accomplish as much as I can throughout the year because I really do live my life based on a pretty structured calendar. And then number 5, day 5 is creating your 90-day action plan. So we don't want you to create the action plan for the entire year. And here's why. Because we want you to evaluate if your action plan is actually working, if your goals are actually what they're supposed to be. And so at the end of 90 days, so January to March, it would be one quarter, or you could do it April to May, June. April to June is the second quarter. So whatever that looks like, but just take 90 days and put an action plan together. So this month, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z in order to fulfill my commitments. And this month, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And then the last month, I'm going to do this. And then at the end of those 90 days, I want you to actually pause and evaluate. Did it work? And again, ask yourself these questions. What do I want to start doing? What do I want to stop doing? And what do I want to keep doing? And if you will do that, then you'll actually make progress in your goals.
Yeah. That sounds so good. I think I might start doing it because I don't.
Yes.
I'm doing some of the stuff that we're talking about, but I don't do all of it. But yeah, I would say 2024, I had like a clear vision And I met most of those goals, especially
Mhm.
when writing my book. That was a big thing. And I was like, I
Right.
want it completed by this date and published by this date and, all of those things. But 2025, I'm kind of slacking on what I want to do. I think just because it was so much in 2024, a part of
Mhm.
me is like, I want my calendar to look less,
Yeah.
like I want to declutter my life and my time. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it is different for sure. I would say different seasons and different areas. But organization, though, for sure is always going to be important no matter what.
Yeah, and I even think on the calendar side too, keeping it on your phone or even writing it down and keeping a calendar, it allows you to look back on your life and be
Hmm.
like, man, I was super overwhelmed this week. What happened this week? And then you
Yeah.
can look and see how full your calendar was. So even when you're looking at a season where you're like, I want to do less, having it on the calendar is a great way to measure it. So that would
Hmm.
be the measurable piece for your SMART goals is, I want my calendar to be, only 70% as full as it was last year,
Yeah.
right? So now you can look year over year and see each week was my week, did it have less commitments
Yeah.
than before? And that's how you know you're winning. And
Yeah.
so I think keeping a good calendar matters. And, even going back to the 90-day plan, like even for myself personally, I did 90 days. So I have a couple of goals for the whole year that I want to accomplish this year. But then I'm just looking at the first 90 days and really fleshing out so that what I'm going to do so that when I look back at the end of March, I can evaluate, do I need to tweak anything, adjust
Yeah.
anything? Is this goal what it's supposed to be? Is it
Hmm.
too realistic? Is it unrealistic? Is
Yeah.
it, not what God is asking me to do in this season? And so it just gives you the ability to reevaluate and continue to make a plan and not get stuck doing the same thing all year, only to look up at the end of the year and realize, oh, I just wasted a whole
Yeah.
lot of time with this method that didn't work. And I just had a final thought as we close this episode. Don't do this alone. So share your goals, your ideas with somebody, even if that's sharing it in the Moms of Ministry Facebook group, because it's good to have outside input, especially when you're trying to put together a 90-day plan or trying to figure out how to make this work. It's good to have people who maybe have done it before, tried to clear their calendar a little bit more,
Hmm.
or try to get healthier before, give you real insight on how to do that. And if you want to book individual time with me, you can do that by going to our Moms in Ministry website. There's a page where you can fill out a form and it'll allow you to schedule some time. I'd even love to help you look at this 90-day plan and really flesh it out and create a plan that will work for you in the new year so that you can win this year. But again, we're excited to continue to provide you with resources that are going to help you become your best self. We pray that this podcast blessed you, and we cannot wait to see you on the next episode.